Good morning. We are running way late. I've just had my run and we're going on a little sort of micro holiday, and you see I've got the stuff all arranged, ready to go. Problem is, my car is filthy. I just can't live with that. So I'm going to try and do a quick... Okay. It does look a little bit better. I mean, I know it's pretty much the worst washing job you've ever seen ever, but you know, I was in a hell of a rush, and I'm still in a hell of a rush, so I don't know how much of this video is going to get shot today or not. Probably not a lot. So we're taking Jasper, we're going to meet up with Mummy at the cottage, and you're sporting a pretty cool Mohican, aren't you? Yeah, Mummy did that. I can't tell you how much I'm enjoying having a little drive in my car. It feels like it's been ages since I had a proper drive. Right, this should be our turning. Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Anyway, what I wanted to talk about today was... Actually, you probably can't hear a word I'm saying, so there's not really any point me saying anything right now. We'll pick this up again in shortly. Be about 120 miles, and we are going to supercharge, but we're not supercharging because we need the range. We're supercharging because it's like already 2:15 and we haven't had any lunch yet, so at the same time I can throw in some electrons. Always like to combine lunch with, you know, refueling the car as well. So what I wanted to talk about today is the fact that Tesla has changed their policy with regards to reclaimed vehicles. So vehicles that have been in an accident, or they've been in flood damage or fire damage, something that has caused so much damage that the vehicle has been written off. Now, Tesla do offer a service for getting your vehicle that's been written off and then got back onto the road, so certified, checked by them to make sure that it's all been put back together and is in decent working order. But what they're doing now, once your vehicle is written off, they blacklist that vehicle so that it can't supercharge anymore. And it can't use the various adapters like CHAdeMO and CCS, so it can't even use a third-party quick charger. Basically, all quick charging is disabled, which, depending on your exact model of Tesla, is going to leave you with the AC 3-phase in Europe at any rate, which will go up to 22 kilowatts, but still 22 kilowatts is quite a lot less than even slow quick charging. So that's not ideal. Kind of, it's a funny thing, because I can see it from Tesla's point of view. They certainly don't want cars that have been rebuilt, being plugged into really high powered chargers and then bursting into flames. You know, it looks terrible for Tesla. It does damage to the superchargers. It may damage other cars that are parked nearby. It's just nothing good can come from that. And I suppose the problem that Tesla have is they feel out of control if they let a reclaimed vehicle use those quick charging services. But at the same time, I think there should be a route that is available to people who want to buy a reclaimed Tesla and try and get it back on the road. I think there should be some way for them to re-enable supercharging on that vehicle, some kind of test that Tesla could put it through. But at the moment, that isn't something they're offering. I don't know if it's something that Tesla will ever offer, to be honest. Because although on the one hand I like to sort of chalk this up to what I usually sort of excuse Tesla. Oh, there's another nice little Tesla just went by. That one's even cleaner than mine, despite the fact I cleaned it just earlier, but I didn't do a good job cleaning it. Normally what I do with Tesla is I excuse them for the fact that, you know, they might not do things quite the way I would like, on the basis that they're a very new car company and there's a limit to, you know, the amount of headspace they've got for things like testing reclaimed vehicles, that sort of thing. I can understand why it's just not something they want to think about at all, because that's not their business model. Their business model is making and selling new cars. Here's the problem. I've always had a big problem with Apple, because of this whole walled garden concept. I don't mind that businesses want to corral their users into a little sort of walled garden where everything is safe and protected, and the supplier of that equipment and services can ensure that the service that their customers are receiving is as good as it can be, and they fully control that. Okay, that's fine. But here's the difference between Android and Apple for me. With Android, you've got your marketplace that's curated and not as heavily curated as the Apple App Store, but it's still quite heavily curated. But you can go into the settings under the developer options and enable third-party installation of software, and then you can install anything you like, including a piece of your own software that you've developed. And that's how I think it should be. You start off in a walled garden, but it's got a door. There's a gate to the walled garden, and you can go out if you want and be in the wilderness. That, I think, is the way to do it. And that is not the way that Tesla seems to be heading. They do very much like the whole walled garden concept. That is one lesson they've learned from Apple that I'm not keen on. It's possible that this will change in the future, maybe, when there's a lot more cars because at the moment the number of reclaimed Teslas is way tiny. So it's not really worth them putting too much time and effort into working out how to satisfy people who want to work on a written off car and bring it back to life. However, I can't get away from the fact that sometimes you get a car written off, especially the older cars, like this car. If I bumped along a concrete pillar and it scraped the front wing and two of the doors, and probably that would write it off. This is an old Tesla now. It's done almost 125,000 miles. It's done 5.5 years of service, and it's been brilliant in that time. But obviously that means that the value left in the vehicle has dropped quite considerably. Would I want it to be written off for just a couple of cosmetic panels? No, of course not. That would be terrible waste of an otherwise really great vehicle. Yeah, so walled gardens, not so keen. But you know what though? It's not going to put me off Tesla enough that I'm going to swap to another EV maker basically ever. Certainly not until en route charging infrastructure is at least as good for non-Tesla EVs as it is for people using the Supercharger network, because the Supercharger network is just so awesome. The fact that you can rely on it, the fact that there are so many stalls, the fact that it goes pretty quickly compared to most of the installed quick chargers around the UK. These are all absolutely essential things that I couldn't live without. So I will have to accept the walled garden concept until such time as another charging network out there can support the other EVs. What do you think? Do you think this is a good thing? Tesla's covering itself in this way? Or, I suspect most people are going to agree with me that ultimately it's not the best thing. I think it's great when a car manufacturer's products attract other companies to supply add-ons and do repairs and stuff like that. So it reminds me a little bit of the flash chip in the MCU, which wears out because it's only 8 gigabytes on the old MCU version 1 cars, which is the AP1 cars, and my car, which is pre-AP car. The solution that Tesla has is, we'll just change the whole MCU, which includes the screen, the great big 17-inch screen. It's incredibly wasteful when all you really need to do is just copy the data off the old chip and, pop it off the motherboard and solder a new one on. Job's a good one. There are companies around the UK that can do that for you for about £500. Tesla want about £2,000 for a whole new MCU. And again, this is the problem. If you go with the third-party solution that saves you a lot of money, you're not going to have any recourse to Tesla should something stop working to do with that MCU. Tesla have always been a very reasonable company with me and the other Tesla owners that I know, but at the same time, like any larger organisation, they do have procedures and rules that their employees need to follow. I just hope they don't get in the way of providing really excellent customer service. And to be honest, that's probably what Tesla would say. You know, that is their number one goal, is to ensure that their customers are safe and getting a great service from them. It's not their number one goal to make sure that customers are getting the cheapest service possible, unfortunately. Over there, Jasper. Can you see it? You see the way it's falling out of the clouds, and it makes the clouds almost look like they're going right down to the ground, doesn't it? That's rain, that is. And it's not just rain, it's rain that's coming our way. Yay! Who doesn't love a good bit of rain heading your way? Well, I don't like it. Come on, where are the charge points? Here are the charge points. Oh, Nissan Leaf. Ah, no, not the charge points. The charge points used to be there, but they've moved them. Moved them over here. Model 3, Model X, Model S, Model S, Model S. I'm going to go in this one in the middle here, because I would like to get full power right from the word go, please. There we go. Come on, start charging. That's more like it. Starting to charge. If at first you don't succeed, try another charger. Let's go get some lunch. That's something that's definitely changed with age on my car. It definitely charges a lot slower at superchargers. 44 kilowatts, and we're only on like 60% charge. Not a problem though. Time to hit the road. Well, it might be the worst washing job I've ever done in my life. Like, it is properly awful, but it's still a hell of a lot better than it looked before I washed it. It'll be fine, I just need to wash it again, clearly. We're here. Awesome. And apparently I can use the electron pump on the side of the house to charge my car. In fact, she took one look at it and went, oh, you're going to need to charge your car, aren't you? I love that. That's a new thing. It never used to be that way with electric cars, but these days there are so many of them, people are getting used to the fact that people are going to want to plug in, which is great, because it means, I mean, okay, so I've got like 154 miles of range at the moment. I'm unlikely to have a problem with range anytime soon, but what is good is that I can now ensure that I leave with a full 90%, which means we can just drive all the way home without having to stop and charge at all. I'll plug in now and charge it up to 90%, because that will only take 6 hours. Nice fast charging then. Your dad making you do all the heavy lifting then, Noah?
It's terrible, isn't it?
I see you've come appropriately armed.
Yeah, I know. It's my new little setup, so.
Got to get that trademarked plugging in the car shot. Uh-oh, I left the bike out. I hope you've enjoyed today's vlog post. If you have, remember to like it, share it, subscribe if you haven't already, follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you don't already, and I will see you in the next episode of my vlog. Bye!